Today we are working Psalm 38. Psalm 38 is used for ridding oneself of unhealthy desires, and it's very commonly used for court cases. But it's also one of the 7 purification psalms, so it's a very important psalm, and you can use it for purifying yourself of all kinds of things. Today I want to use Psalm 38 for purifying ourselves of anxiety. The way we work psalm magic is simple, easy, and effective. We take the psalm and we speak it out loud all the way through once without stopping. We call this an incantation. After we've finished our incantation, we go back through that psalm and we consider each verse one at a time and look for hidden meanings that lie in the psalm. We call those occult meanings because they're hidden. I find it similar to doing a tarot reading. There are symbols that tend to mean the same things over and over again, but you know how it is when you're reading tarot, sometimes it means something different because of the way the rest of the spread is, or you get an intuitive pull that the meaning is this or that. And the same thing goes with working psalm magic. You want to use your intuition and let yourself be guided to find those seeds of wisdom. And whatever you find, you do your best to apply to whatever the situation is that you've brought to the psalm. And by doing this, you're taking those seeds of magic and planting them deeply in your mind where they take root. They grow, they blossom forth, and they bear fruit after their kind. And that is precisely what we are going to do together right now with Psalm 38. O Lord, rebuke me not in thy wrath, neither chasten me in thy hot displeasure. For thine arrows stick fast in me, and thy hand presseth me sore. There is no soundness in my flesh because of thine anger, neither is there any rest in my bones because of my sin. For mine iniquities are gone over mine head, as an heavy burden, they are too heavy for me. My wounds stink and are corrupt because of my foolishness. I am troubled, I am bowed down greatly. I go mourning all the day long, for my loins are filled with a loathsome disease, and there is no soundness in my flesh. I am feeble and sore broken. I have roared by reason of the disquietness of my heart. Lord, all my desire is before thee, and my groaning is not hid from thee. My heart panteth, my strength faileth me. As for the light of mine eyes, it is also gone from me. My lovers and my friends stand aloof from my sore, and my kinsmen stand afar off. They also that seek after my life lay snares for me, and they that seek my hurt speak mischievous things and imagine deceits all the day long. But I as a deaf man heard not, and I was as a dumb man that opened not his mouth. Thus I was as a man that heareth not, and in whose mouth are no reproofs. For in thee, O Lord, do I hope. Thou wilt hear, O Lord my God. For I said, hear me, lest otherwise they should rejoice over me. When my foot slippeth, they magnify themselves against me. For I am ready to halt, and my sorrow is continually before me. For I will declare mine iniquity, I will be sorry for my sin. But mine enemies are lively, and they are strong, and they that hate me wrongfully are multiplied. They also that render evil for good are mine adversaries, because I follow the thing that is good. Forsake me not, O Lord, O my God, be not far from me. Make haste to help me, O Lord, my salvation. It's starting out with a direct invocation. The King James Bible translated the Tetragrammaton into the word Lord. And so we are invoking Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh here. But remember, in magic, in psalm magic specifically, Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh, the Tetragrammaton, is a symbol. It's a symbol of the one power. It's important that we orient to this one power each time we work psalms so we don't accidentally or inadvertently allow ourselves to slip into superstitious thinking that there's some capricious deity outside of us that needs our supplications in order to come in and rescue us. Instead, the Lord, being a symbol of the one power of the universe, is the only power that exists, and we are an extension of that power. There is no place where we are disconnected from this power except in our minds. We are a direct extension of it. We are one with it. It is the creator, and we are that creator's extension. When we realize this, we empower our magic. We become one with our true power. And that is why our success is always assured, because there's nothing that can oppose this force. Since there's only one, there's nothing that can go up against it. There's nothing that can thwart it in any way. And since we and this force are one, there's nothing that can go up against us either. O Lord, rebuke me not in thy wrath, neither chasten me in thy hot displeasure. We know what it feels like when we are overwhelmed with anxiety. It feels like we're being punished. What did I do to deserve this? It's very easy to project blame onto the infinite and say, you must be mad at me, otherwise I wouldn't be going through this. For thine arrows stick fast in me, and thy hand presseth me sore. Again, blaming the infinite for our anxiety. It must be you that's doing this. I would never have wished this on myself. What did I do to deserve this? There is no soundness in my flesh because of thine anger, neither is there any rest in my bones because of my sin. I must have done something to deserve this, and you're punishing me for it. That's the only excuse I can find as to why I'm going through this. There can be no other reason than I must be a miserable sinner who deserves punishment. It's important that we understand that ultimately we know that none of this is true, but giving voice to this is important because it's only by turning and facing these kinds of ideas that we are able to release them. If we pretend like something's not there, there's nothing we can do to release ourselves from it. So it's important for us to turn and face this idea in whatever way it presents itself to us. That there's some force outside of us doling out punishments, and I must have done something to deserve this. For mine iniquities are gone over mine head, as an heavy burden they are too heavy for me. If you have done something that you feel bad about, if you have done something that you feel guilty about, it's good to acknowledge that. And it's also good to acknowledge that you're feeling guilt, so that must mean that you have some morals, right? But living in the guilt, sitting in the guilt, if that's what's causing the anxiety, that's not the infinite's will for you. The infinite does not will that you be anxious. The infinite does not will for you to feel guilty. The infinite is all grace, all forgiveness, because from the infinite's point of view, you can't sin. It's impossible. You can't. There's no possible way for you to sin because it's not the infinite's will for you to sin. You weren't created to be a sinner. The only way you can sin is within the realm of a nightmare or a hallucination. And to ask to be forgiven by the infinite for something that you didn't do doesn't compute as far as the infinite's concerned. The infinite knows that you are innocent. The infinite knows that you are worthy, and the infinite knows that you aren't ultimately anxious, except for within the realm of this hallucination. Until you are capable of finding the right way to ask for something, you're not going to be able to be given that something. If you're asking for the impossible, you're never going to be granted that. And it's impossible for you to ask for the infinite to stop punishing you for sins, because the infinite doesn't punish and you don't sin. But we're not there yet. We're still going through it here. My wounds stink and are corrupt because of my foolishness. So I created this reality for myself. I deserve what I'm going through. And it's so bad that nobody wants to be around me. I'm a pariah. I cause everybody to run away from me. When you're feeling anxious and you have a negative disposition, you have that sort of Pigpen syndrome. If you've ever seen the Peanuts cartoons, that character Pigpen always has that bad aura around him. When you have that, it begets more unfortunate experiences. The more your aura is attracting those experiences, the more your aura gets filled with that same syndrome, and it attracts more experiences, and so on and so on. And then you say, oh, I must be a miserable sinner. God's punishing me. It's happening to me. I have no idea why this is happening. When in reality, if you were able to just step back and look, I'm getting what I'm attracting. I'm attracting it because I'm placing these energies into my own aura. And then I'm attracting situations that go along with those energies. And then I'm wondering why I'm so victimized by the world. It must be God. It must be God's will. I am troubled. I am bowed down greatly. I go mourning all the day long. There is a wonderful depiction as to why you feel so anxious. You're troubled, you're bowed down greatly, and all you do all day is mourn. Never once so far has the psalmist given an indication that they must change their own internal attitude to get rid of this anxiety. It's reason after reason why they believe they're so anxious and filled with such awful feelings and such tension, never understanding that they are perpetuating it by not even questioning their own attitude. For my loins are filled with a loathsome disease. There is no soundness in my flesh. The depths of my being is filled with a loathsome disease. And it's a wonderful way to depict anxiety or depict any of these self-perpetuating circumstances that we have. And it's so easy to see it in other people, isn't it? When somebody's just going on and on about their problems and their life seems to get worse and they keep complaining and all they do is focus on the negative and focus on the negative and they get more and more of what they're focusing on, it's really easy to say, maybe you need to start thinking differently. But when it's happening with us, we don't want to hear that. In fact, usually when somebody tells us maybe you need a little bit of an attitude adjustment, we perceive that as a personal attack. We get very defensive when that happens. No, I want to complain about it and blame God for the fact that nothing ever works for me. I am feeble and sore broken. I have roared by reason of the disquietness of my heart. The psalmist is starting to wake up. Just the idea of I have roared by reason of the disquietness of my heart makes us start to question maybe the anxiety is something I'm doing. Maybe I'm anxious because of what I'm doing. Maybe I'm anxious because of the disquietness in my heart, not because it's being heaped upon me by some external force. Maybe I need to change. Lord, all my desire is before thee, and my groaning is not hid before thee. This is the ticket right here. This is when things start to change. You don't need to fix your problems and then go see the infinite. You take all your problems to the infinite, and you ask the infinite to rebalance you. Now, you do have to be willing to let go of whatever is causing the issue. You have to be willing to let the infinite do the infinite's work. But you don't have to wait until you're better and then go see the infinite. In fact, you need to go see the infinite right now. You need to turn to the infinite, warts and all, and say, here it is. I need help. My heart panteth, my strength faileth me. As for the light of mine eyes, it is also gone from me. It's like going to the doctor and telling your symptoms. Now you're doing it in a way that's very positive, rather than trying to fix it yourself or just be all alone in your ruminations. Now you are in the presence of the infinite, asking for help, and now you're giving the doctor, if you will, the litany of symptoms that you're going through. My lovers and friends stand aloof from my sore, and my kinsmen stand afar off. My relationships are awful. Nobody wants to talk to me. Nothing good is happening for me. I can't shake it. All I do is get worse and worse. They also that seek after my life lay snares for me, and they that seek my hurt speak mischievous things and imagine deceits all the day long. And it's so true that not only do our personal relationships suffer when we get stuck in these dark periods of self-loathing, but also we allow ourselves to be victimized, not only by our own internal ego, which is doing this to begin with, but also by people outside of us who prey on such people. We become easy pickings for the people that want to prey on those who are self-loathing. So many of those abusers wait. They sit and lie in waiting until they can see, oh, they don't like themselves at all. Good. They're an easy mark. So let's go. We don't understand how we make ourselves more vulnerable to those kinds of abusers when we ourselves allow ourselves to hate ourselves so much. So no wonder we're filled with anxiety, because we don't have a very good opinion of ourselves. Now, what we have done so far is amazing. We've stopped blaming the infinite for our condition, and we've gone to the infinite with our condition and asked for help. But I as a deaf man heard not, and I was as a dumb man that openeth not his mouth. Thus I was as a man that heareth not, and in whose mouth are no reproofs. See no evil, speak no evil, hear no evil. When we're going through what we're going through, we don't want to hear anybody's opinions about how to make it better. When we're going through these kinds of deep-seated anxieties, the last thing we desire is someone showing us how to make it feel better, or showing us another way of being. And you see that all the time. It's hard to see it in ourselves, but we see it in other people. Somebody's going through something and you say, oh, maybe you could try blah, blah, blah. I tried that. Just don't mess with my anxiety. I just want to complain. I do not want any help. I don't want to get better. For in thee, O Lord, do I hope. Thou wilt hear, O Lord my God. Phew, finally, right? We've gone through the litany, a lot of problems. It's been really tough for us to allow ourselves to be helped, but finally we are at a place where we understand it's up to us to say the magic words, please help me. Please help me. I don't know what to do, and I don't want to keep this. That's everything. Infinite, I don't know what to do. I need help, but I don't want to keep all of this. I don't want to keep this anxiety. I don't want to keep what caused the anxiety. I don't want to be right about this situation anymore. In fact, I would love to be very wrong about this. For I said, hear me, lest otherwise they should rejoice over me. When my foot slippeth, they magnify themselves against me. So now we're talking about enemies, but really what we're talking about is our own inner enemies. Our own inner enemies that we've been discussing throughout the psalm that don't want the help. We're out to get ourselves. When it says, rejoice over me when my foot slippeth, they magnify themselves against me. Those are self-destructive tendencies of the ego. For I am ready to halt, and my sorrow is continually before me. I want to stop this. I am ready to halt. I'm ready for this to end, even though I'm still feeling bad. Even though I'm still feeling sad and anxious and upset, I don't want it anymore. Before, I gave lip service to not wanting it, but I didn't want to give it up. I was unwilling to give it up. Now I'm willing to give it up. Now I don't need to be right about anything. For I will declare mine iniquity, and I will be sorry for my sin. Here, it's not so much, oh, I'm so sinful, and since I'm going to repent for my sin, you'll finally forgive me. The sin here is wanting to keep it, wanting to be right about it, wanting to be justified in what we were going through. You can't have both. You can't justify why you feel anxious and get rid of the anxiety. You can't want to keep your judgments about people and the world and have peace about those people and the world. You can't do both. So when it's saying, I will declare mine iniquity, I will declare that I don't want to keep this. I will declare that I don't want to be right anymore, and even that I might have been wrong, and I will be sorry for my sin. In other words, I want you to help me. To be sorry for my sin in this regard is really, I don't want to waste any more time. I don't want to waste any more of my life being allegiant to whatever this is. But mine enemies are lively, and they are strong, and they that hate me wrongfully are multiplied. Now, you may have that going on in your life outside, but really we're talking about your own ego thoughts, your own tendency to go against yourself, your own cleverness and creativity that you use against yourself. They also that render evil for good are mine adversaries, because I follow the thing that good is. It's important that we understand this from an internal perspective. Now that you understand that you need to keep your mind anchored on the infinite and not on these problems, don't expect that the shriekings of your mind is going to just be silenced, but you have to do it anyway. You have to stay true to what you know you have to do in order to overcome this anxiety, overcome these problems, overcome this internal strife. You have to keep your mind focused on the infinite and no longer be allegiant to those old thought forms. And during the period of time that takes to do that, there will be shrieking. Ask any addict when they first entered into a program of sobriety how challenging it was just to not drink for a day or not to use for a day. This is a kind of addiction. You're no longer going to be allegiant to those old thought forms, and you're going to stay your mind on the infinite. Forsake me not, O Lord, O my God, be not far from me. This is an affirmation that the infinite has always been with you and always will be with you. But when you put your mind on the infinite, it's as if the infinite's there and wasn't there before. That's the power of your mind. It's not that the infinite went anywhere. The infinite's always there because the infinite's omnipresent. The infinite's the one and only power. But you can use your mind however you want to. And if you decide to use your mind to focus on all the reasons why you feel so bad rather than focusing on the infinite, you are at liberty to do that. And now you are stating that you're not going to do that. Make haste to help me, O Lord, my salvation. This means not that the infinite has to hurry, but we have to hurry. We have to immediately and quickly notice when our minds are on the anxiety and turn them to the infinite. And that can seem very challenging at first, but you get into a habit of it. And the more you get into the habit of doing that, the easier it becomes, and the more you notice that you lose your anxiety, and the more you notice things in your life start to heal and get better. And so you need to make haste each and every time you notice yourself back in those old patterns. I'm going to train my mind, turn my mind away from this, and put it back onto the infinite and allow the infinite to work through me. So you just keep coming back to the same psalm each and every day until you get a sense of peace, serenity, and certainty about your situation. And when you get that sense of peace and certainty and that serenity about what you're going through, that's a clear indicator from your deep mind that your spell has taken and you don't have to work on this anymore. You can just move on to something else. Thank you so very much for spending some time with me today. Until next time, blessed be.